Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you another video. All right, so we're talking about the Toronto Raptors and the LA Lakers, who are going to be playing at Crypto.com Arena tonight in Los Angeles. And, well, I just got through watching about an hour worth of Toronto Raptors highlights, the last 5 games or so. They're not the most fun team to watch highlights of. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I was having the greatest time watching that, although Pascal Siakam dunked quite a bit. It was a lot of dunking going on, but the quality of talent they were playing against, it was a little rough. It was 2 games against the Washington Wizards, game against Chicago Bulls, a game against the Nuggets, and a game against the Clippers. So Toronto versus those teams, it was kind of it was a long road trip for this team that they're finishing off here. I think this is the last game of that road trip. But it's been up and down. It's really been up and down against the Los Angeles Clippers. They shot poorly in the previous matchup that just happened. We talked a lot about Fred VanVleet and his cursing tirade. He went off on one of the particular referees who he felt was officiating the game the wrong way. I thought that would probably be bulletin board material that he'd want to carry into this game. So we need to be on guard against him right away. Gary Trent Jr., that's a guy whose shot has been falling left and right. He's really playing well right now. Fred VanVleet is having a slumping season right now, but we definitely got to pay attention to him on both sides of the floor. Crafty guy. Don't know what you're going to get from him since he's in a big slump, but given the fact that he was upset in that last one, I just think he's going to play well. Scotty Barnes, man, one of the best young players in the game. Rookie of the year last year, two-way star. Definitely somebody you got to deal with on the defensive side, specifically blocking shots, stealing the ball, and just ultimately creating problems with his huge size. This is a guy who can get out and guard the perimeter, get on the inside and guard the paint. He's basically going to turn into one of the best defenders in the game. So it's going to take Vanderbilt and AD to offset what he's going to be doing down there. And if we do not do that, it's going to be a loss. You got to contain this dude. Pascal Siakam, another one, super high, talented offensive scorer who can do triple-double like things, getting the ball to other people. It's blocking shots as well, two-way ability. Just a star, way up there, man. Borderline superstar, Pascal Siakam, multi-time All-Star. Somebody I think could just do a lot of things for his team tonight and create a lot of problems for us if we do not keep Anthony Davis out of foul trouble. So, yeah, it's going to be incumbent upon us to try to do that, given the fact that Bamba's going to be out for 4 weeks, as we've already discussed. But we do got some good news. D'Lo's going to be returning tonight, and we discussed a great deal about that yesterday and how I expect him to be potentially a little rusty on the defensive side, given the fact he's missed about 5 games or so. I don't like the fact that we're sending him out there against Fred VanVleet, coming off of the type of matchup he just had. But D'Angelo Russell is talented enough to make good on that, and hopefully he'll come out feeling sharp and ready to go. OG Anunoby's another guy you got to take very seriously, another all-star level player that they got, two-way star, defensive-minded player, and he is, in my opinion, why they are not their record. When you look at the Toronto Raptors record, they're in the 9th place, if I'm not mistaken, having lost the games they've lost. They're pretty much in the same boat with us, fighting against the Chicago Bulls and the Washington Wizards for an opportunity to make the play-in tournament, as they're smashing between those two teams, fighting for their playoff lives. Having the fact that they split a game or two with the Wizards, the two home games. You know how they do it, where they have you play in the same building against the same team. They do that all over the season this year for every team. And the Raptors had 2 games in Washington back-to-back, but it didn't even look like they were in the same building because Washington wore the pink color scheme, and then from there wore their regular color scheme. So it was like, I was confused. I thought the other game was in Chicago, but it wasn't. I mean, in Toronto, but it was not. They were both in Washington. The first matchup was a game where the Wizards were able to snap a 6-game winning streak. Fred VanVleet had a cold game, and they just had a hard time guarding the fast break, which is something that they definitely have a hard time guarding, this Toronto team. The second matchup against the Wizards, kind of vague to me, but ultimately they weren't able to get the victory. They were. Toronto was able to beat them in that particular matchup and split that road series. And then from there, they went on to play the Nuggets. And the Nuggets took care of them. You know how the Nuggets do. They don't play games with teams like that. They had a close game, but it wasn't enough. And then against the Clippers, boy, oh boy, did the Clippers situation go foul for them, having shot 38% from the field, 40% from behind the arc. Lost by 8. But, Fred VanVleet was complaining about the refs. I'm looking at that shooting and saying it was nothing more glaring than how poorly y'all shot. And if y'all shoot like that against us, we're going to beat y'all worse than the Clippers did. So that's what I see there. That's exactly what I see there. They had better shoot better against us. You got to deal with Will Barton, a player who they got from the Washington Wizards, I think in a buyout. Obviously, we thought Will was going back to Denver since he had played his whole career there, but he went on to Toronto and is coming off of their bench as one of their main bench pieces. Chris Boucher is a guy you got to pay attention to, a long arm center who's coming off of their bench who can also shoot the corner three. He's been hitting that as of late, which is why he sticks out. Jakob Poeltl, big time center that they picked up from the San Antonio Spurs, a guy who's playing for a contract, who's been in a situation where he's playing meaningless basketball basically since he left Toronto in his sophomore season. So he's returning to Toronto to play some meaningful basketball, fighting for his playoff life, and I expect him to play well. So that's why I don't think they're their record. When you consider they're getting OG Anunoby back, who's basically been injured all season. He's back and healthy. After running for a couple of games, he should now have his wind back 100%, which means I expect him to have his best game in weeks against us, OG Anunoby. And then you consider Jakob Poeltl, who also has been playing in the Western Conference, has already seen us 4 times, having played on the Spurs all year. I don't know if he played in all the matchups, but the point is we've seen Jakob Poeltl 100 times already, and yet we got a matchup with him yet again. So with Mo Bamba missing, Vanderbilt having what is reported to be fighting through some type of knee or ankle, and then of course Anthony dealing with the foot, I'm just a little bit concerned that we're going to be not our best in our front court. We're going to need Wenyen Gabriel to play well, of course, as he usually does. We're going to need Hachimura to really contribute when coach puts him in at the 4 spot, which we know is coming. And we're going to need Troy Brown to continue to play absolutely and utterly well. His 3-ball has been falling. His rebounding has been good. He's been playing good defense. We've really been happy with him. So, when you're considering this Toronto Raptor team, if those guys don't play well, you don't have a shot. You need AD to play at the level he normally does, and you need the wings that are matching up with those wings to be able to stay on the floor and upright. There will be no room for small ball and stuff like that tonight. The Chicago Bulls tried doing that against the Toronto Raptors and lost the game at home. I did watch that highlight as well. They remind me of us. The Chicago Bulls did. They ran Patrick Beverley, Kobe White, Alex Caruso, and DeMar DeRozan, and threw Vucevic out there. That small ball crap was food for the Raptors. They ate it up and spit it out. So needless to say, we need not do that. So that's what it is. The one thing that glared about the Toronto Raptors is something I've already said. They don't guard the fast break very well. In fact, they suck at it. Just about every game I saw, they were giving up fast break points left and right. They just don't do nothing with that. We had 20 fast break points in the last game, but I had been complaining that we don't get in the fast break very often before that game. So which is it, Lakers? Are you going to try to get into the fast break like you did in the previous matchup against Memphis? Or are you going to do like you normally do and not take advantage of something that could very much destroy this Toronto team? So get out in the fast break, get some easy ones. It's a layup line. Poeltl and those guys play good defense. For whatever reason, they don't necessarily stop people slashing at them. So I want to see Lonnie Walker out there slashing at the bucket, Austin Reeves slashing at the bucket, and just a lot of stuff downhill. Use our downhill players to get downhill. It would be great if Bron was available tonight, because he's exactly the type of player you want attacking the Toronto Raptors, figuratively and literally, because he's literally LeBron, and that is LeBronto, as we all know. So needless to say, he's terrorized them for 20 years, and it's a damn shame he don't get a chance to do it tonight. But nevertheless, we need to get a victory for him tonight, because it's a big deal, man. We got to win every game we're in. Obviously, we're in the 9th spot, but we also have some teams on our heels, including the Utah Jazz, who won their game yesterday, and if I'm not mistaken, are a half game behind the Lakers. I don't think they suck. They just got Kelly Olynyk back. Chris Dunn is continuing to play well. They're finding stuff. THT is playing like a madman, and now they're getting something out of Agbaji. Basically, the Utah Jazz are hot on our tail, and they are probably not looking to just concede, not making the playoffs. We need to keep on winning. The Pelicans as well. Obviously, they don't have Zion coming back anytime soon with the setback there, but we need to keep on winning. Turns out Luka's injury ain't as bad as we thought it was. KD's injury ain't as bad as it was. All these different things. It looks like Ja is going to be coming back very soon instead of being out for the rest of the season. All of these different things tell you that the West isn't as wide open as we thought it was about 48 hours ago. So winning is still the most important thing for all teams in the Western Conference. Um, period. Not named Houston and San Antonio, who were officially eliminated yesterday. Congratulations to them. The rest of us still have to keep on winning. So that's really what it is, man. We step up to the plate and we knock out teams we're supposed to beat. This Raptor team is solid as it pertains to the top 7 players they have. After that, their bench is a little suspect. You're wondering if you're going to get as much out of those guys as they would hope to get. I know they got a guy by the name of Malachi Flynn, of whom I like a lot, a guard on the back of their bench somewhere. I don't know if they're using him or not, but he definitely can play. Who else? Is King Birch is another guy that I'm aware of that's on their roster. I don't know that they use him, but he's there. Delano Blanton is another wing that they have somewhere on that roster. See, a lot of these guys that I'm talking about don't get used as much because they've been pushed down since the trade has been made, but they're just guys I know are on their team that can go. And of course, Precious Achiuwa. Dare I not forget Precious Achiuwa, who's having a fantastic season. Somebody I still think the Miami Heat should have never given up on in the first place, but has really made a name for himself playing some center and some backup power forward for this team at an extremely high level, man. He's basically a double-double threat every night. One of those guys like Nas Reed, like Tyus Jones, like so many others who are just developing very well in role-playing roles, and if probably given starters minutes, would step up very well as a starter. Precious Achiuwa is probably a guy who would give you 20 and 8 if he had starters minutes. Double-double guy, easy. So I definitely expect him to be a presence on the glass tonight. He's not known for his defense, but he's definitely somebody who's going to get a lot of buckets as he continues to ascend. So you consider him and Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes. It's a bunch of forwards coming at you. Will Barton. It just doesn't stop. So, Jakob Poeltl, Chris Boucher. This team is not their record because when you look at some of those players, they haven't all been together all season long. So you got to understand that. If you don't play defense against this team, they have the ability to do big things against you. A guy like Fred VanVleet, he's been struggling. But I've seen games where he goes for 37 and 15. He has the ability to go way up. When you talk about the career highs of guys on this team, you're talking triple doubles, 40-point games, that kind of thing. They have individual players that can go off. Gary Trent can go for 40 from behind the arc. OG Anunoby's a triple-double guy who's capable of scoring upwards of 40 points himself. I just know the ceiling of each and every one of these individual players. And I'm telling you, even though they collectively don't come together to make a great team, if you have a great game out of any of those dudes, it could be the difference. And they're capable. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like I hear people saying Toronto's not like that. I agree. They're not like that. Just for whatever reason, they ain't coming together to play as well as they normally do. But that can change in an instant when you have the type of length and wing switchability depth that they ultimately have, and a high-level player like Fred VanVleet, who's capable, extremely capable. They're a dangerous team. If they happen to make the playoffs, you slip in there thinking they okay, and then all of a sudden they go on a streak. They put it all together, and so that's just something I'm expecting to happen to us tonight, which is why I'm trying to keep us on guard against this Toronto team, who has all the motivation given the fact they were so pissed at the refs in the previous game, and they ain't even left town. We're in the same building that they were dealing with all that in. So I think it's a little tricky with us having players coming back and going out of the lineup once again. Bamba out, D'Angelo in. It's just more inconsistency with the rotation. Now we got to wonder how Dennis Schroeder's going to be used. You got to wonder how he's going to use the shooting guard rotation. You got to wonder how that center position is going to go if for some reason we get into foul trouble. All these different things that just have to be answered that we have no answer for. We just got away with the point guard deficiency problem. We slipped by without it ever rearing its ugly head. We were down to 2 playmakers, and we somehow made it work. Getting D'Angelo back now, that problem should be out of our way. However, with the center position, now we have an equal concern in a sense that we need another backup center. We don't have that player on the roster. I really want our Lakers to go ahead and try to find a guy who could play the center position that isn't over 30 years old, who can come in, have some upside, and help our team. Someone that we can bring in that will have at least some off-season value. That is the goal. We got to get somebody. I don't care if we are looking forward to using him or just have him on the back of the bench. We need some more front court center insurance. So that's something I hope the Lakers are taking very seriously and don't just not, basically. So that is the thought. We're going up against the Toronto Raptor team. Has everything on the line, man. This is a playoff matchup, just like every game we've been in since the trade. It's a must-win. The urgency and the intensity should be there. I know they're not in our division. They're not one of the teams that we're fighting directly against. But we are in a battle for our playoff lives with about 7 or 8 other teams that all must win every game as well. Some of them are ahead of us, some of them behind of us. We need to consider everybody a threat. I don't care if it's the Golden State Warriors or the Utah Jazz. You need to have winning in mind to keep them off you. So I'm looking at Darvin Ham. Obviously, I'm looking at Anthony Davis. Those are the two guys. Darvin Ham, please don't make any mistakes. Anthony Davis, please mask any mistakes. That's what it comes down to. We need those two dudes to be on the same page, and we need them to lead us to victory by making good decisions and ultimately playing well, respectively. Malik Beasley, we've talked a lot about him. He's been cold. Very, very cold lately, and we've been overusing him and overshooting with him. I do want us to start him for the sake of having the pressure come his way in defense and all that as we talk about. But what I don't want is him overshooting. I do not want to see him attempting 13 3-point shots until he can prove he can string 2 together again. Because what we're having is lost possessions, and we're being forced to rebound the ball better because of those lost possessions, and it's keeping the score close. As I've been noticing, we keep him on the floor. He bricks the stores close the whole time until we get away from him. And then we put in Austin Reeves and the score goes up a little bit. So we just need to be real about that. If the shooter is not hitting shots, we got to move on. So that's what I'm looking at. D'Angelo Russell should also help with that because we have D'Lo back. There's no reason to lean on that particular shooter too long. You know what I'm saying? He can give us that same pressure. Ain't no reason to lean on him for shooting like that if it ain't falling. So that's something I'm looking at. Rui Hachimura played very well. We talked a lot about how well he's been contributing, or how poorly he had contributed up until last game, as to which he played very well. And we're going to need a repeat performance from him on the boards and shooting the ball very well. If he can contribute in other areas, that'll make me very happy. But ultimately, rebounding and scoring is his game, so we need to get him in positions to do those things. Dennis Schroeder and how well he's been playing. He was 7 for 7 from the line last game. 0 for 3 from behind the arc. We want him to be more efficient for shooting threes, but we definitely love the fact that he's consistent, getting us the easy ones. So we want to continue to use him slashing as well against this terrible guarding fast break team. What else? It's just a lot of good to say about the roster as a whole. Austin Reeves and how well he's been playing with the 8 assists in the previous game, basically making every shot he's taken since he came back from injury. We really appreciate the contributions that he has, and we understand that the fan base is is asking for us to use him more, if not start him. I think it's obvious he's earned the starting spot, but if we want to go the Ginobili route, he should be getting the big minutes that come with that role, not being treated as if he's a lesser guy just because he isn't starting when we know that we need him for winning time on both sides of the floor. So I think he's obviously turned into one of our most important players, especially since we traded away some guys that continuity-wise help us a lot. Like Russell Westbrook, for example, in his assist numbers, I think it's going to be ever so important that Austin Reeves makes up for that where he needs to. Of course, with D'Angelo coming back, it's a little different, but we're going to need him to help with that just the same. And I hope that his usage doesn't go down now that we have D'Angelo back in the rotation. I hope that we're able to still get him what he needs to be who he's been these last couple games. So, Vanderbilt, like I said, he's fighting through something, even though he's, as much has been said about how well he provides our team so much energy. At the end of the day, if he's fighting through some type of pain or injury, we're going to need him healthy if we're going to do anything. We need that guy. So, especially with players out at the forward position, I think it's ever so important that we sneak opportunities to rest this guy Vanderbilt. You just don't want to find yourself with your X factor not available because you overused him too soon. We're going to need him for the playoffs. So that's another reason why I want us to bring us another center so we can buy him some time to rest, and so on and so forth. Winyon's going to play a lot, but I don't like Winyon at the center. I don't like most of our players at the center. I think we've done a good job of putting good players on the team, but not as it pertains to having guys that are not undersized for the 5. Just about every player we got is undersized for the 5, and it might be our Achilles heel when it's all said and done. You need real centers against real centers, and as of right now, I don't think we have a single one on the roster as of right now. Not a single one. All them dudes is 4s. So that is that's something we're going to try to get away with, but I don't know if we should be asking ourselves to do that. So get us a center, Rob. I can't stress it enough. So that's where my head is in regards to this game. Toronto Raptors, like I said, they've played against some seriously interesting road matchups, I guess you can say. The Nuggets game going the way that it did. The Clipper game, etc., the Washington games, and that Bulls game, which was just small ball. I tell you guys, it's the worst thing in the NBA all the way around. So I just don't think we really saw a whole lot in those games that would make us afraid, to be completely honest with you. If they play like they did these last 5 games, we're running out of here with a 10-point lead. It's not going to be very difficult at all. They just haven't been playing that great. They just really haven't. I can say they slash to the bucket well. They certainly jam a lot. Pascal Siakam dunked at least 30 times in those highlights, so he's definitely getting to the rim. We're going to have to keep him out of there. And they got guys that can shoot. Gary Trent Jr., like I said, his 3 balls falling. Chris Boucher, I saw him hit that corner 3 several times these last couple games, so I know he's going to attempt it tonight. And Jakob Poeltl was doing a good job of creating abilities to score in the paint. He had some really good footwork. I saw a lot of stuff where they were getting him the ball, and he was working it in the paint in ways that you want to see other centers use it more often. So, they got paint presence. They got defenders at all positions, and they're a bit shallow at the end of the day. So if he can get a couple of the guys in foul trouble, maybe we can have some things work in our favor. But understand, you're going up against a championship coach, Nick Nurse, a savant coach, if you ask me. He came straight out the gate his rookie season and won a championship with Kawhi and those guys. Some of them dudes are on the floor today. These are NBA champions we're going up against. Lose sight of that not. Not all of them, but Pascal Siakam, Boucher, Van Fleet. These are champs. They have a ring to their belt and a lot of confidence coming with them. So they just lost to their guy Kawhi in a controversial way. And I just know they're going to come out firing, blazing, and understanding that they're going up against a Lakers team that's flat out better than them on the road. So they're going to be keen and especially fired up for this matchup. And if we start off slow and don't particularly attack them in the fast break, they're going to be able to do things that make the game as hard as possible for us. If I'm not mistaken, one of those games they went against, I think it was the second Washington game, I think it went into overtime. I don't remember if it was that Washington game or the Denver game. I don't remember. But one of those games went into overtime, and it was Gary Trent Jr. who really, really strung together a lot of points in that game to help them win. I think it was the Washington game that they did win. I think that went to overtime, and I think he had a big overtime period. So we need to pay attention to him. As I said, he's running hot right now. So that's what I got to say, man. A team that's very fired up to beat us. The bulletin board material of that referee thing needs to be in all of our minds. Whatever energy they bring into us, we need to bring to them. Whatever anger they got in their heart, we need to be angry even more so than them. Think about small ball. Think about our record. Think about all the teams we lost to in embarrassing fashion. Think about the Celtics. Think about the Clippers. Think about anything you got to think about. But make sure you're winning this basketball game at the end of it. Because if we lose this one, we're going to find ourselves basically in 11th place. And it's getting harder and harder as these games get closer and closer to being over with. So this is not a game I expect to lose. It's not a game I'll accept losing. And there should be no reason we drop the ball against this particular Toronto team, who has the same record as us. And we're a lot better than them. So that's really what it is, man. It's a trap game in a sense that you can roll over and pretend that this team ain't that serious based on what it is that we've seen in these highlights. But I know better. Guys are getting healthier. Particularly OG Anunoby getting healthier and Jakob Poeltl getting more comfortable. And those two things, with those two players particularly, make them extremely dangerous. Much more dangerous than they have been up until this point. So be on guard and be ready to win. Salute the Kobe minute. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. That is really it. I'm looking forward to us getting through this one. This game starts at 7:30. You know what I'm saying? This is not the most difficult game we'll have on this schedule. So I can honestly say that much. But that doesn't mean nothing. We've lost games against Toronto. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, or was it the year before, we got blown out by Toronto. You know what I mean? So this is not a team that we just are easily going to poo-poo and run over. These are the same dudes that blew us out, by the way. Continuity is a big thing for this roster. There's front 7 guys, with the exception of Jakob Poeltl, they've all been on the same team for the last 3 years. So I think that is something that is also going to work in their favor if they happen to crawl their way into a playoff spot. With that being said, it's within our control to keep them from doing that. And I don't have nothing against Toronto and Drake and them, but we got work to do. So if it's going to be us or them, it's got to be them. So that's what I got. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.